Welcome back to the Dirt Road. I am here with Mr. Rick.
Guess who's back?
Back
again.
That guy's the GOAT, bro. Seriously.
Guess who's back?
I don't care if you love him, hate him, whatever.
Tell a friend.
That man cannot be beat.
Cannot. Eminem, I am a true stan. Eminem, I love you, bro. I know you're watching this podcast. Invite me out to Detroit. I want to meet you.
Listen, that his newest album is amazing.
Sick.
Amazing.
It is so freaking good. I don't understand how he puts out mediocre. I mean, even his mediocre albums are great, but
yeah,
nothing like the first couple of albums. You know, some Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP.
Off their chain.
But this one is right up there, man. It's right up there.
I think it's probably his best one yet. Honestly, I think it's probably his best one.
It's up there. It's up.
Think about it. I mean, he burned so many people, and he did it so brilliantly.
Oh my God, he goes after everybody. Nobody's safe with. That's what I love about this guy.
How do you spell rapper again?
Oh my God, that was some line.
Oh, he burned them.
He's like an R-A-P-E-R. Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P, did he?
Yes, he did.
That's
yes, he
great.
did.
Em, you the GOAT, baby. I love you.
Careful with that baby oil, folks.
All right, so Mike, the Dirt Road. Here we are. The reason this is called the Dirt Road is because we start going, and we never know where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
Right? This is our headlines part 2.
Yep.
This is what's that? I keep forgetting the date. It's September 28th.
28th.
So it's the week of September 28th. Missing the Alabama-Georgia game, but that's all right because I love Mike. By the way, Mike, I'm sick of the name calling in this world. People just call people names for no reason, and it infuriates me.
They have no concept of what
nothing.
It means.
Your daughter, my niece, called me a stinky butt upstairs.
Well, she's pretty much feral, so there's that.
She's definitely your daughter, I'll tell you that. All right, Mike, you got 5 headlines for me. Mike's going to give me 5 things. I have no idea what he's going to say. I'm going to give you a raw reaction. It's not an educated reaction, so please don't kill me on here. I have no idea what he's going to say. Just my raw feelings. No research, no anything. So, here we go, Mike. Headline number 1. What you got for me, boy?
Okay, headline number 1. Historically accurate poll sees Republicans lead Democrats in party identification. And this just came out September 25th across the country. This is a nationwide poll. This is talking about not just like a demographic or a section or even a little bit of like the people or whatever it is. This is like the full-on, full-out age range, geographic, Americans as a whole, overall, now for the first time in I'm not sure even how long, lean more towards Republican than they did Democrat. That's a huge shift.
So it's kind of a corollary. Kind of a corollary to the one I gave you about the youth.
Exactly. So
pretty interesting.
It's interesting to see kind of different things coming together. So I'll tell you right now, it's a Gallup tracker monitors party identification in the run-up to each presidential election. For the third quarter of 2024, Republicans account for 48% of all voters. By comparison, the Democrats amass around 45% of the electorate.
Okay.
Their lowest figure under Gallup's poll since 1992.
All right, so one thing that shocks me right off the bat is this must be which party you identify with, not registered, right? Because
this is who you identify with, not registered, but identify.
Right. All right, so it's a poll asking people who they lean towards.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is. So it's probably a little bit more of an accurate description of people. So it said the first paragraph is kind of the key in this whole thing. A poll which has consistently predicted the popular vote within a percentage point of accuracy has Donald Trump to win it by around 3 points. This is a snapshot in time. It doesn't mean it's what's going to happen, but
of course,
but compared to everything we've seen up to this point in this election cycle, that's a big ground shift. I mean, that's a really big ground shift, both just in the fact that more people identifying as Republican than Democrat, and then also them having him up by three or so points overall in the popular vote. That's a big shift compared to what we've been seeing up to this point.
Yeah. All right, so that part is an outlier. So that's just like you said, a snapshot. Who knows what that poll? But the other part, am I surprised? No. There was Arthur Schlesinger Jr. wrote a really good book on American history called Cycles of American History. And it's just how it's not about history repeating itself, because it doesn't. Mark Twain had a great line. He said history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
Exactly.
Things are similar. But things do go in cycles. And we have, without doubt, been in a left-wing cycle for a while.
Yeah. The 90s, really?
No, I don't think I disagree with you on that. I think it's more towards Obama. Beginning of, halfway. I think the crash, the Great Recession, I think started turning, the Occupy Wall Street came after that. And I think we started going left.
Yeah, it's a valid point.
Yeah, so we've been in the left-wing cycle for roughly 20 years. I'm not surprised we're coming out of it. I'm glad, if it's true.
Yeah.
There's always blowback. Things do go in cycles. And listen, that to me seems like the type of a poll you could pay attention to, because it's just asking a simple question: which party do you identify most with?
That's what I like about this poll. So I'm not. Everybody who's watched already knows.
You hate polls.
I don't like polling. I think it's kind of a bad indicator of anything. But this one is a very simple poll. It's done every election cycle for a very long time, and it's usually pretty accurate because they keep it very simple and they use a very broad base of people to talk to. So I like this not because it favors Trump over Kamala or whatever it is. Not even about that. But just because of the simplicity and what appears to be honesty of it. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm not surprised. Maybe I'm surprised that's happening this quickly. I thought maybe it would last another couple of, election cycles or whatever. But definitely, the Reagan Revolution came to an end somewhere around mid-George W. Bush term. And we started moving more towards the left. And, Trump was kind of an anomaly there for a 4-year period. But I definitely figured at some point we would start going back in that direction. It just happens. We've gone from conservative periods of time to liberal periods of time, like the 60s, and then in the 80s we went back to a more conservative kind of time, and then a more liberal period of time around mid-W. Bush's term, and maybe it's about time. Hey, listen, I hope that poll's right, because I hope they're right.
About 40 or so.
That's the best I could explain.
We got approximately, give or take a few days, 40 days or so to election day, so we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We'll see. If Trump wins the popular vote, that would be a big sign.
Yep.
Forget the Electoral College. If he wins the popular vote, that would be a big sign that poll is...
popular vote would be huge.
Yeah, listen, I got to tell you, I mean, just about that, I at some point... I just hope we have an election where one side creams the other, because it's the only thing that's going to tamp things down a little bit. I mean, if you think of it, the last time we've really had Obama's first election was kind of decisive, but that, I don't know that necessarily was a leftward swing as much as a reaction to what was happening in the Bush years with the crash and the Iraq War and all of that.
I think that's exactly what it was.
It's really hard to tell.
It was a combination of fact. You had a cultural aspect to it because he was the first black president coming in, and everybody felt like they could virtue signal with that. Yeah. And then on top of that, you had some of the disasters coming out of the Bush era.
Yeah, absolutely. And that election was decisive. I mean, there was no doubt about it. He won the popular vote by a lot.
A big precursor for that.
And he won the Electoral College by a lot. But if you go back, Mike, after George H.W. Bush's first election in '88, right?
Yep.
Clinton never won a majority of the popular vote in either of his elections. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
And it was obviously because Ross Perot was in the race, but it still was not a majority of Americans saying we want this man. W did not win the popular vote in his first election. He barely won it in re-election. Then you had Obama, which was, like I said, a decisive election.
It was a sea change.
His re-election was losable. He could have lost that election.
Yeah, because it was... Yeah, because he had the 4 years of hope change that didn't really turn out to be much of anything, and everybody was kind of like, what the fuck?
And then we had Trump, the first election with Trump, he didn't win the popular vote. And then the next election, the re-election, as big as the Electoral College difference was, it was just a matter of a few tens of thousands of votes in a couple of different states. So we really haven't had a decisive election in a long time where Americans could just sit back and go, all right, I lost, that's it, and we're going to go this way for a little while.
I think you're right. I think that would be like a reset, like bam, hit that reset button and get people kind of back to a zero again to start back.
Yeah, and I hope that decisive election goes the way I vote, but if I'm going to lose, I want my ass kicked. Just to
I don't think
kind of calm things down a little bit.
Listen, in my personal opinion, I'm not, predicting anything, don't get me wrong. I don't think we lose this one. I don't. My only question is how much we win by in this one.
I don't know if he wins or loses. I don't think it's going to be popular vote wise anyway. It's not going to be a blowout either way. I don't think. But who the hell knows?
I think it might be.
We'll find out in 40 days.
I'll tell you right now. I think there's definitely potential for it, but you have to get out and vote. Listen, I'm going to do the thing that most people won't do. Right? I'm going to tell you right now. I don't care what side you're on, or who you're voting for, just get out and vote.
No!
Because if you get out and vote, it means you're involved. You're actually paying attention. If you start paying attention, you're going to vote my way.
Don't go out and vote if you're not going to vote the way we want you to vote. Don't!
Listen, people need to get involved civically, right? They do. They do.
All right.
Obviously, I want you to vote for Trump. I want to see the country go in a better direction and things will be restored. But if you're getting involved, I at least respect that you're getting involved. Does that make sense?
No, don't vote. Don't vote. Go ahead, Mike. Headline number 2. Don't vote.
Don't vote.
Go ahead.
All right, so this one, I don't have to really read the article to you. I can just give you the headline, and you probably pretty much get it, right?
Sure.
California Governor Newsom signs formal apology for slavery.
Oh, God. All right, first of all, California wasn't a fucking slave state. There it is.
I was waiting. I knew that was coming right away. I'm like,
are you fucking
what the
kidding
fuck?
me? Compromise of 1850. California comes in as a free state. The South gets their Fugitive Slave Act. What is he apologizing for? That guy's a freak. Let me tell you
something. The world's biggest slime bag does the world's biggest virtue.
I was about to call him a moron. He's not. The guy's slick as could be, man.
He's not stupid. He's just a scumbag.
He's slick. Apologize for slavery. I don't understand. Is this going to have reparations too now?
No. Reparations got shot down.
Just an apology.
But he signed a formal apology letter.
Listen, isn't everybody kind of sorry that that's a part of our history?
Of course.
Yes.
You can't be a human being with any kind of conscience and think that was okay to take people in forced slavery.
Of course not. I mean, that's why it's phony. You know?
It's a
that's why it's phony. No, who doesn't regret that was part of American history?
Of course.
Any American regrets that.
Of course.
It's just so dumb. But listen, like I said, he's a slick guy, so he must know what he's doing. He apologized. That's not a slave state, Gavin.
That's him, pandering to the base, right? Trying to keep that low simmer going for his candidacy for the next presidential run,
God. Listen, you know what? When America put out an apology to the Japanese Americans for the internment, a lot of those people are still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And their kids who suffered the loss of their parents' businesses and everything like that. Yeah. That, I think, maybe was a little more genuine of an apology.
Well, yeah, that was, listen, what was done to Japanese Americans during World War II was horrendous, right? They're forced into camps, shut down their businesses. I mean, that was a massive overreach. That was a massive, massive overreach by the government at a time where that really wasn't even happening.
Canada didn't apologize for it because Canada didn't do it, and California didn't have slavery. So what is Gavin Newsom apologizing for?
Well, Canada will be apologizing for that after this podcast, since we believe Justin Trudeau may actually be watching. We're not sure, though.
I hope not.
And if he is, you're a douche. Stop fucking things up. Get out of the way. Let somebody actually real smart lead Canada, not you. You're a mess.
I don't know anything about Canadian politics, but I do know that guy looks like just such a sleazeball.
Well, first of all, he looks like Catro's legitimate son, which he probably is. Second of all, he's a complete backwards. Just stop it. Canadians are wonderful people. They're really good, warm, hospitable people, and you're destroying their country.
They got the best sport out there, baby. Hockey.
Leave them alone. We love the Canadians. Leave them the hell alone. Get the hell out of the way. Let them go back to living their lives normally, not with your nonsense.
Hockey season starts in 2 weeks, bud.
Restore Canada's integrity.
Hey, listen, Canada's got a great national anthem. Oh, Canada.
Oh, yeah,
Just beautiful words. But do you know that they changed the part where it says, in all thy sons command? There's a line in there saying, right before God keep our land glorious and free. It says, in all thy sons command to God. They changed it about, 5 to 10 years ago to all of those commands or something like to keep it gender neutral.
That's so fucking stupid. Stop it.
So they said, in all thy sons command or something. It changed the national anthem to be gender neutral.
Listen.
And it's such a beautiful national anthem. It's like their version of America the Beautiful would be.
Yeah.
It's just got really, God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, I stand on God for thee. But they changed the part where they said, in all thy sons command to all thy alls command. I don't even know.
And here on the dirt road, we love our northern brothers and sisters. We love you guys. We love the patriots there. Keep fighting. Keep working to restore your country's integrity and
good bacon.
Get rid of these.
Good bacon. I like Canadian bacon. Dude. It's cool. It's almost like ham, but it's good bacon.
Canada has a lot of good. It's beautiful. Absolutely breathtakingly beautiful.
I was in Montreal when I was younger. And Quebec City, which still has the walls around it. From when they used to, when the British were up there, or the French built the walls. I don't remember. I guess it was the French who built the walls to protect against the British.
Yep.
But that was a long time ago. I was a kid. But it is a gorgeous country.
It is.
And they're good people. But Justin Trudeau changed the national anthem back, you schmuck. Gavin, stop apologizing. I spit.
Listen, Justin, Gavin, why don't you guys get it together, get on a rowboat, and row yourself somewhere on an island, and you two can be retarded together.
They look like they could be cousins.
They look like
that geeky.
They look like the kind of guys you'd find together in a room at P. Diddy's mansion.
I knew what you were going to say couldn't be good. All right, next one, Mike.
P. Diddy.
What do you think? Should Gavin Newsom apologize for slavery? Or is it just kind of like common
and
knowledge.
let us know in the comments. Maybe
like
there's
that.
some aspect of this we're not seeing. Maybe there's something we're not understanding. Look,
I think it's just political pandering.
I think it's political pandering. I think it's virtue signaling. I think it's nonsense. But maybe you have a different take on it, and you can argue it reasonably. Listen, let us know. Get in the comments. Let us know what you think. We're kind of curious to see what you have to say about that one. All right.
All right, brother. Next one.
Alrighty. 1 second. Let me grab it real quick.
I can't believe she called me a stinky butt. That's so not nice.
It's crazy. Here we go. This is the one. Okay, I'll read you the headline because this one I think you're going to be able to go just off the headline.
All right.
If Harris can eliminate the filibuster for Roe, she can nuke it for fracking bans and gun control too.
Yeah. So listen, I have a lot to say about that.
I figured.
The filibuster is not a constitutional thing. It's a Senate rule. There's no constitutional clause that says the Senate has to have 60 votes or 60% to. In fact, the filibuster used to be 66, but it was 2/3 that you needed to break a filibuster. Mm-hmm. So I guess it would be 67 votes. Anyway, so there's no rule about that, but that really is what keeps us from going too hard one way or the other, right?
Yeah, it's a balancing act. Yeah.
When Harry Reid was the majority leader,
yep,
and he killed the filibuster for judges, non-Supreme Court judges, right? And I get it. You don't want this tied up forever. You need the judges out there and everything. I get that part of it. But in order to keep America somewhat centrist, you should be able to get 60% of the Senate to approve of
whatever measure it is, yeah.
All right, so he blows that. Oh, but just for this. Come on. As soon as then the Republicans get in, Mitch McConnell says, all right, well, now we're not going to do it for Supreme Court justices because we want Trump's justices to be approved. So now we don't have a filibuster for that. So you think they're going to get rid of the filibuster just for Roe and then to codify Roe and then put it back? No. It's gone. And listen, it's a matter of opinion. There are a lot of people out there who would say, listen, democracy is a 51% game, right? Or a 50.1% game.
Yeah.
So I get it, but throughout our history, at least modern history, this has the filibuster has kept us from going too far one way or the other. Mm-hmm. But what Ms. Harris and others don't understand is that they're not going to be in power forever.
Right.
And there's going to be a Republican majority and a Republican president at some point, and then they're going to get everything they want.
Yeah, it's going to swing back the other way.
It swings back the other way.
Yeah.
I like the filibuster. I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a stable element that kind of make sure things don't tip too much.
I agree. So that you don't get crazy kooky legislation passed.
Right,
because again,
right.
If 61 senators agree on something,
it's pretty much it's centrist. You're pretty much middle of the road centrist kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she's a fool. I mean, I can't put it any other way. I think she's a fool.
I agree.
I think she'll get her way. I think if she wins the presidency and if it's a 50-50 Senate and her vice president, what's his name? Waltz, would get to do the tie-breaking vote there, they'll do it. 100% they'll do it. I would love if Trump wins the election and the Republicans have a 50-50 or a 51-49, just for shits and giggles. I would love some Republican senator on the first day when the Senate convenes and they do their rules to bring up an end to the filibuster and demand that all Democrats vote in favor of getting rid of the filibuster.
They were all for it.
They're all for doing that. So I would love it if some, like a good wise-ass senator like Rand Paul or Ted Cruz or somebody like that should do that. On the very first day, if they have a very narrow majority, call them out. Say, all right, guys, I'm putting this in the rules right now.
Yep.
You with me?
Here's my motion.
You with me? All 49 of you should be with me right now, right?
Yeah, you all said you were for it 2 weeks ago before this became what it is, but yeah.
There's such hypocrisy in politics. It's just disgusting.
That's just it. But I thought this would be a good one for you because I figured, one, this doesn't get enough airtime. Nobody's really talking about this, and that's a big deal.
No.
And two, it's more of the same.
But Mike, I don't mean this to sound demeaning, but the average American doesn't know what the filibuster is.
But that's my point. Like, why aren't they being educated about these things? So if we can bring you that knowledge and help you understand what it really means and what it is contextually, then...
Well, they tried, this is only a couple of years ago when they were talking about it before Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema put the kibosh on it. They were claiming that the filibuster is racist in its roots, right? Because
I remember
why?
That
because there were civil rights legislations that were filibustered before they finally got passed. But
filibustered, right, by the Democrats.
Yeah, ironically, that's true.
A little bit of a historical weirdo thing there, but
that is true. But that doesn't make it racist just because it was used for a racist purpose at one point. I mean, it's just so dumb. People are dumb. You're dumb.
Yeah, stop making everything racist. It doesn't work that way.
But I really do hope that if the Republicans get a slight majority, that some Republican Senate puts that into the Rules Committee right at the beginning and demands that the Democrats vote for it. They're all on record as wanting it.
I agree.
All right, brother, what you got for me next?
Okay.
You're supposed to have these written down.
I keep them in here because it's easier for me to just get to it because I can scroll right down to it. I got it.
Giving you an unprepared mark.
Unprepared mark. Okay. So we've got, this is a little more local in some sense, but has to do with the election also. New York Appeals Court considers overturning Judge Engoron's partisan $454 million verdict against Trump.
Yeah, I actually read that article. That was just out the other day. Listen, that judgment, I don't care if he's technically guilty of whatever it was they charged him or not. The law's the law. If he's technically guilty of it, that was a judgment, the punishment, right? The judgment against him, not the verdict, the judgment. Mm-hmm. That was for one purpose and one purpose only, and that was to break that man financially.
Yeah.
Right? Because the bond that he was going to have to put up, listen, I don't care if you're worth $1 billion. You can't take out your checkbook and write a $500 million
because it's never
check.
liquid. It's not liquid.
Of course not. Right. No, so that's what they wanted. They wanted him to have to sell Trump Tower and sell Mar-a-Lago.
Remember that Letitia James, the New York State Attorney General, was salivating, talking about him having to sell Trump Tower and everything on news.
Absolutely.
And then when he wouldn't, saying, we'll find some way to take it from him.
Yeah. So I'm glad that, because again, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. I know that they tried to stretch the law to make it whatever. They wouldn't
be on stretching it, but
even if he was technically by the letter of the law guilty of something, that judgment, that would be like giving somebody who blew a stop sign a $25,000 fine.
Exactly.
That's really what that amounts to.
Exactly.
So if you wanted to fine him a couple of $100,000, get it over, embarrass him, fine. They weren't trying to embarrass him. They're trying to wreck him, trying to break him. Yep. But I'll tell you something, man. Like Mark Zuckerberg said, I don't care what you think about Trump. Dude's a badass.
Yeah.
They're not able to get him. But at some point, some appeals court, or if not that, the Supreme Court was going to strike that shit down. Because they had to. It was a personal attack on him. It was not justice.
They tried to bankrupt the opposing candidate. That's all they were trying to do.
And like I said, if he broke it by the letter of the law, they could have fined him a couple of $100,000 and been on their way. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to bust this man's ass.
That's exactly what they wanted. And just for perspective, in the procedural law that they used in that case, that judge violated so many principles, basic principles of law that was beyond ridiculous.
No, there was a lot of.
And his daughter being tied to that, Democrat, whatever, lobbying group, whatever thing. It was a hot mess there. But New York Appeals Court is a weird kind of thing.
Well, our appeals court is like our Supreme Court. Our appeals court is actually the top court
in New York State, right? Yeah. But their decisions, they're definitely left leaning. They're appointed by the governor. They're left leaning. They're very left leaning. But I will say this. A lot of the time, they're actually very fair decisions that come out of there. Yeah, it's not. You get your political decisions out of them. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely political decisions made there, but I think most people will be surprised by how kind of balanced a lot of their decisions are. To be honest with you.
But from what I read, this may end up well in Trump's favor here when it's actually.
Oh, I think it will, because even during the trial and everything else, there were leaks coming out of the appeals level, our Supreme Court level, and the New York State appeals court level. There were leaks coming out of those chambers that they were like, this is procedural violation, or calling it like an embarrassment, things like that. So I think that the tone's already been set for that, but we'll see soon exactly what's going on.
But like I said, even if by the letter of the law he did commit a crime,
this is still egregious.
The quote-unquote victims testified on his behalf, the banks.
Yeah.
And said he was a good
They wanted to do more business with him. They solicited him from the stand.
Look, it was a joke. And even the Democrats were saying when this was first brought up that this was not the one they wanted. They wanted something that was going to get them.
Recently, Biden's second in command at DOJ called this case a complete disgrace.
It is.
And it is. It absolutely is. All of them
even if, like I said, because they're going to comment on
the Bragg case, this case, all of it was garbage.
So even if by the letter of the law he was guilty of something, it's still nonsense.
Egregious.
It was, like I said, it would be like giving somebody who blew a stop sign,
yeah,
a $50,000 fine or something.
Sure.
Nonsense.
Yep.
All right, brother, go ahead. What you got next?
Okay, next one's a good one. This one I actually liked a lot for a lot of reasons, but I'm going to read you the headline. You tell me what you think. It says, thank God.
Talking to the mic, brother.
It says, thank God, CNN web content to go behind paywall. Obviously, you could tell this writer doesn't like CNN. He's more right than anything else. But let's read the first couple of lines.
Yeah, go ahead, because I thought they did this a long time ago. They tried this and failed.
Right. Well, if the New York Times is correct, and this is based on reporting from the New York Times.
Go ahead.
If the New York Times is correct, more people seeing CNN content will get asymptomatically close to zero soon. This guy's very right, doesn't like CNN. But let me skip down to something that's more important.
Good.
In early October, CNN will begin experimenting with charging some readers for digital access as part of a bid to shore up its businesses as cable television erodes industry-wide, according to two people with knowledge of the decision. So the important takeaway that I have for the article for you is the cable news business basically being eroded, like it's kind of collapsing in a way.
So my first thought is, why do they expect somebody to pay for something that they don't watch for free? I mean, CNN's ratings have really tanked. I'm not even being a wise ass. I mean,
no, but you're being accurate. But I mean, cable news in general, the ratings have kind of gone down dramatically.
This generation, not our age, but as young, they don't pay for shit. They don't want to pay for any content.
No, they don't do any paywall shit.
No, they don't. I don't blame them. I mean, listen, whether it's music or whatever, if you can get it for free, you get it for free. I can't imagine anybody would do that. But as far as the other part, cable news is definitely. Look, we were just talking about this off camera.
Yeah.
As many subscribers as Tucker Carlson has now, he doesn't have near the influence that he had when he was on Fox.
Right.
But I think, and again, I don't know, but I think 10 years from now, I think cable TV will be a relic. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be relevant anymore.
I think the 24-hour news cycle has seen its heyday.
It has, because now we have a 24-second news cycle, right, on the phone, and you just get...
In social media, you have citizen journalists on social media, quite a few of them on, like, X, that have these tremendous followings. Yeah. I mean, tremendous. And these are just regular people reporting on what's happening, but they're giving a more succinct, quick kind of jab version of it, and it's more direct and probably less partisan. Some of them not, but,
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. To me, I think like cable news is more for the type of person that actually watches it like all day. Like I don't think.
That's the channel that goes on and stays on. It
just stays on in the house like all day long. That's not the way younger people operate.
No, they want to get their information and keep it moving.
So I think it's more people our age and maybe older that will watch Fox all day long, or Newsmax or MSNBC or whatever. I do watch some shows here and there. But I just didn't understand, like, there's a story, right? And maybe you'll see it on Fox and Friends in the morning. And then they'll discuss it on the 5. And then whoever comes on after that will discuss it. And then Jesse Waters will discuss it.
Yeah.
And then Sean Hannity will discuss it. And then somebody, and it's the same fucking thing. It's like, how many times can I hear different takes on the same story? I think cable news is just on its way.
They've taken beating a dead horse to a level that is beyond epic. Shoot for the stars, and they shot past them.
Yeah, and I assume it's the same thing on the liberal channels, right? They probably find something Trump said that annoys them, and then each of them gives their take on it all night long.
And unless you're completely devoted to your hate for one man, you're not going to sit there and listen to that crap all day. It's enough. It's nauseating. Like, who the hell needs to hear it 50 times in a row?
But listen, I can't tell people what to watch. If they enjoy it, they enjoy it. But I definitely think the younger... I don't think the younger generation, and by younger generation I mean anything from like 18 to 30, I don't think they watch cable TV, cable news. I think most of them don't even have cable, right? They're mostly streaming stuff.
They stream.
Yeah.
They stream.
Listen, I think by the
time...
They
go to social media, X, Facebook, whatever, X, Truth, whatever, they go...
I think by the time our generation is, shitting our pants, I think cable will be gone.
That might not be that far off for us.
It's not that far off for us, Mike. No joke. I will be a stinky butt soon, you can tell your daughter. It's only a matter of time that we all turn into Joe Biden,
Feral child.
Go ahead, brother.
Let's go one more here, okay? And this one's kind of more generalized also. And I just want to get your general thoughts. ICE, thousands of non-citizens convicted of homicide, other crimes roaming free in the U.S.
So, one quick thing I'll add to that. So the only network that reported that last night was NBC.
Yeah.
ABC World News Tonight didn't cover it,
Yep.
and CBS didn't cover it. I don't know if they will, but they didn't. And it was more than just that. It was more than just the murderers. There was
rapists.
Yeah.
Other crimes. Over 500,000 people were like generalized crime. So
Right.
robbery, rape, whatever.
So again, is this even close to being the majority of the people who have come in? No, not even close. But
No.
that's not the point. I've brought this up before. Your nephew asked me, why is it any different if an illegal immigrant, murders somebody than if an American citizen murders? And my answer was because that one was avoidable.
Yeah.
It was avoidable if the law was followed.
Because they were kept out or sent back out and kept out.
Right.
That
Now,
person wouldn't be here to commit those crimes.
Donald Trump, instead of just with his rants and they're sending their worst and blah blah blah, he should take this fact, because this is a fact put out by the U.S. government, controlled by Joe Biden, and hammer those numbers day in and day out for the next 40 days. That's what he should do. Stop with the eating dogs. Stop with the other stuff. Just take those numbers, because he can now quote the U.S. government under Joe Biden, put these numbers out. Right?
Yep.
ICE is part of the executive branch, controlled by Joe Biden. So if anybody's going to argue those numbers, take it up with Joe Biden. Those are the numbers. If Trump wants to win, he should hammer that home day after day after day and drop the rest of the nonsense.
He's been commenting on this, so it's been all over his social media, not just on Truth, but on X and other platforms.
Good, he should.
So he's been nailing on this the last day or so. Since these numbers came out, he's been on it. He's been kind of nailing them out there,
and he should stay on.
So I think he's actually doing what you're saying and I think he's going to take these and just kind of keep driving this home.
And he should.
So, absolutely, because listen,
he should.
That is probably the biggest hit on the current administration that you're going to get before the election.
That is because gas prices have fallen quite a bit lately, so it's going to be harder for him to
prior to an election.
Yeah, of course, by magic.
Yeah.
In fact, I just saw it on my way here.
Abracadabra.
257. I saw on my way here.
Oh wow! Yeah. See, so always right before the election, right? You get good gas prices.
So yeah, that's obviously his big issue. Listen, in 2016, that was his big issue. It hasn't. Weirdly, it hasn't caught on as big as it did in 2016. Back then, he had the "Build the Wall" chant.
Yeah, remember that?
Really helped.
Mexico's going to pay for it.
Right. So he had that he could really kind of hammer.
Yep.
He hasn't really kind of caught on with this. Maybe these numbers will help him.
I think they will. I think they'll drive it home. Listen, these are huge numbers of criminals we're talking about here. And is it everybody that came in? Absolutely not. But
of course not. Not even close.
But what's not being spoke about in these numbers, these are the known ones, right?
These are the ones already convicted.
Yeah.
These are the ones with
already convicted and known. How many unknown are there?
Sure.
How many terrorists? How many gang members? How many cartel members? Right. Scary numbers.
And listen, that's not to vilify all of them, but again, this is something that is controllable.
Yeah.
Look, Joe Biden, the numbers have gone down, right, of illegals crossing in the last couple of months, of course, because the election is coming up.
Yes, they started tightening up recently, although they're flying them in too, so they're not crossing the border so much, they're flying them in.
Which, again, this is something Trump should hammer on, because according to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they had no control over this, right? It was all because Donald Trump killed that bipartisan bill. But apparently they do have control. Yeah. Because they've been able to cut those numbers down now.
They cut the flow off the border, but they are flying people, mostly Asians, but they're flying them in.
The numbers have gone way down, and she's bragging about that now, and he should come right back at her when she brags about it and says, oh, so I guess you had control of this, or a way to control this, for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Right? You're able to get those numbers down now. That means you could have done it regardless of that quote-unquote bipartisan bill and regardless of anything else, because that's all Biden was doing is blaming Republicans, right? Obstruction and all that. But apparently he has the power to do it because he did it, and he's bragging about it. Yep. And she's bragging about it. So the question should be, all right, well, why didn't you do this 3 years ago? Apparently you know how to do it.
And he said something to that effect of like, okay, you're going to fix all these things when you're in there, but you're part of this administration, why not just fix it right now? Right. And he posted the other day on X, he said, why not just go back to Washington, D.C. right now, sit down, hammer it out, get it fixed right now? Because you can. You can. And,
well,
I mean, he called
they are, right? They brought the numbers way down in the last couple of months. So obviously they can do it. They know how to do it.
Yeah. And
why didn't you do it for 3 years?
Exactly. And that's what he's kind of driving home right now.
Same thing with the gas prices.
Yep.
They're down now, not at the point as when Trump was president, but getting a lot closer. 257 is pretty close.
That's close to Trump's numbers, yeah.
You know,
it's less than $1 off of where he was, right? $1.80 or something like that.
I'm sorry, isn't that war in Ukraine still going on? We were told that this was a quote-unquote Putin price hike, remember?
That's right.
That Putin was the reason that the gas prices went up to $4.50 a gallon.
That's right.
Well, that war's still going on. As far as I know, Putin's still in power.
Yep.
So somehow when they want to, they have a way to make these things get fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing it to try to help them, and I get that, right? They're trying to help their election chances by fixing these problems.
Yeah.
But this should, if played right by Trump, turn around to bite them in the ass.
Absolutely.
Because, okay, you knew how to do this,
and now you're doing it again?
You knew how to do this for the last 3.5 years, and you didn't do it? That's what he should be really just hammering them on.
Absolutely.
You know?
I got one more for you, just because it's a bonus one, and I think it's an important one, though.
Go ahead.
All right.
Remember Arnold Horshack? Go ahead.
Where is it? There we go. Interest payments on U.S. debt exceed $1 trillion annually for the first time. Holy crap!
Yeah. Listen,
that is a huge number. That is insane.
Look, for the last 25 years, right? Democrats and Republicans have been banking on two things: one, low interest rates.
Yep.
Two, the dollar as the world's reserve currency.
Exactly.
As long as those two things are there, as long as the dollar is the world reserve currency, and as long as interest rates are low, our debt's almost. I know this is going to sound crazy, but our debt, it just really doesn't matter that much. You know, it just doesn't. But there is a big danger. It's not going to happen tomorrow, and it's not going to happen next year. But there's a big danger to the dollar right now, being the world's currency. There's a danger to this. The Saudis are talking about not using it as petrodollars. BRICS is forming, and
huge, especially with Africa coming into it now.
Yeah. And I don't know if it'll work if they use local currencies or if they come up with their own type of currency. Again, this is not happening tomorrow, and it's not happening next year, but it's happening at some point.
Yeah.
I think anyway. And interest rates, you never know. I mean, interest rates are a little higher now than they were obviously a couple of years ago. It just went down a half a basis point, but they can skyrocket. So do I think the debt is an existential problem? Probably not at the moment. But you can't keep banking on this, Mike. And that's what our government does, Democrats and Republicans. They bank on those two things: the dollar as the world's reserve currency, and that interest rates will be low, and they think they can get away with this, and they've gotten away with this for so long. But Mike, man, all good things come to an end. And boy, oh boy, if this does, it's going to be fucking brutal.
You can't keep kicking the can down the road. No. Eventually, it comes home to roost. The chickens come home to roost.
It does. And listen,
it's going to be ugly when it does. That would collapse the economy.
There is no one political party.
No. They both spend like there's no end to the money.
One president that's exempt from
Trump
this.
spent as much as Obama did, and even more sometimes.
Now, a lot of it was for COVID. I'll give him that. But
there was a big chunk was COVID spending.
But he spent. But listen. Clinton did a pretty good job, at least getting a balanced budget with the Republican Congress.
Yeah.
That surplus should have been used to help pay down the debt. George W. Bush decided it was time for 2 huge tax cuts. And then you have the opposite when Republicans come in. When Democrats come in. Yeah. They decide it's time for big stimuluses. Or stimuli. I don't know what the word would be. Yeah. Whatever. And listen, they spend like drunken sailors. We've gotten away with it for many years because of those two things I brought up. But can anybody guarantee us that those two things will be in place in 5 years? No. And it's a scary thing because listen, you pay the piper at some point.
Yeah.
You just do.
Yeah. You do. It's out of control. Listen, I'm a big believer in smaller government. We shouldn't have reckless spending. We shouldn't have 80 bajillion different agencies all doing the same thing and wasting a lot of money. I think that government accountability office would be a good thing to kind of regulate things and bring things back into a more efficient way.
Me too.
But I don't want to wipe the whole government. That's insane. But we definitely need to shrink things and bring that number under control.
We do.
But debt is extreme.
But the shrinking of things, can't be based on some sort of partisan ideology.
No, it has to be reasonable and honest and done.
I hear Republicans all the time talking about getting rid of the Department of Education, right? Federal one. The Federal Department of Education has about 4,000 employees. They can get rid of the Department of Education tomorrow. It's not going to make a dent. Not a dent in our deficit or our debt. Look at the Department of Homeland Security. bad at, right? A brand new one that was created. The Department of Education was
comes on the Patriot Act, yeah.
Right. And that was created, God knows what what?
Patriot Act was the biggest misnomer. It was more the Spy on Americans Act.
So we just keep expanding the government every time we get an excuse, right? And 9/11, let's be honest, was used as an excuse.
And that's exactly what they did.
To expand the government.
Yeah.
And they did. And how many billions and billions and billions of dollars are we sending now to get blown up in Ukraine and
trillions of
Israel.
dollars, and Halliburton, everybody else makes a lot of money, and we all get screwed.
So I agree with Trump and Vance, because they say, Republicans in general, they'll always focus on, they'll say, Social Security's killing us, Social Security's killing us, then get rid of the Department of Education. No, none of those things are killing us.
No.
It's the other big things that are killing us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the military-industrial complex stuff needs to go. That's really the heart of it all. But that's, for Republicans, that's a big no-no. Anybody in Capitol Hill, anybody in D.C., that industry controls Washington.
Yes.
That's where all the money flows
from. If you're a Republican and you even try to just limit the growth of military spending,
you're done.
Defense spending.
You're done.
You're done.
They're gonna pay to have somebody primary your ass right the hell out.
Yeah.
And guaranteed the party's gonna get right on board with that because they want to keep their seats.
So each party has their babies, right? That they their holy grail that they can't touch.
Yeah.
And this is going to come to bite us in the ass at some point. Right now, no, but it will.
It always does.
It has to.
It's like a boomerang, right? It comes back around.
It has to. Anyway, so what do you guys think of all of that sort of stuff? And what do you think of, was it this video we were talking about Canada yet, right?
Yeah. It's our Canadian brothers and sisters out there, right?
Change your national anthem back. There was nothing wrong with that. And all thy sons command. Come on.
Yeah, it was beautiful the way it was.
Got to make it gender neutral? Really?
No, it was beautiful the way it was.
Come on, stop.
All you Canadian patriots out there, we love you guys. Keep fighting, right? We didn't forget the truckers and all you guys out there that got screwed so hard.
That?
Yeah, I don't forget you guys. I remember you guys. I remember it well.
Dude, they froze their bank accounts. Remember that?
Yeah, that was Trudeau.
And we talk about Russia?
Yeah.
We talk about Putin?
Yeah, Trudeau is far worse than anybody in Eastern Europe.
They took protesters and froze their bank accounts.
So they couldn't buy food.
They didn't commit crimes. They were protesting.
Yeah, so they couldn't buy food or continue to protest out there.
Let's go bomb Putin.
Yeah.
Let's go bomb Iran.
Listen, you guys know what to do, right? Take Justin, load him on a boat with the other slime bag over in California.
We're such fucking hypocrites, Mike. We're just such fucking hypocrites. We got to go bomb Putin and bomb Iran, and they're evil, they're bad, they do. Meanwhile, right up to our north, they freeze bank accounts from truckers because they were, what was it? They were in COVID, right? COVID regulations or something?
COVID regulations, mandatory things, a lot of things. But basically, Trudeau's government is what, they went further left than we did, and they're probably what a lot of our leftists would have wanted. And everybody protested against it. They were like, hell no, no more. And this is what their response was to protest. They shut their bank accounts down so they couldn't buy food.
I'm ashamed to be a hockey fan.
No, I love hockey, and I think
I'm ashamed to be a hockey fan over
the Canadians just have a boob sitting there at the top right now.
You know what?
It's been propped up by a lot of people that shouldn't be there.
You know what? Bella would call him?
A stinky butt.
A stinky butt. Guys, comment down below. Let us know what you think.
Is Trudeau a stinky butt?
Those were good headlines. They weren't too serious. They were interesting.
I thought they were good, and they kind of covered the broad spectrum of what's really going on right now. Look, there's so much that gets lost in the news cycle every week that should be spoken about more and brought out more. So I want to try and bring those to bear more and bring out more stuff that maybe is going in the background, and we can talk about that, right? Like the Canadian problems with Trudeau right now, So if you're out there, you're watching, please drop a comment in there.
Do they have an election coming up soon?
I believe they do. I got to look it up when, but I think they do.
I remember they had a pretty conservative government. It's Stephen Harper, right? Wasn't that his name?
Yeah.
Stephen Harper was their prime minister for a while. Fairly conservative government for a while.
And then it swung the other way to
Listen,
Trudeau,
like I said, it goes in cycles, man. It just does.
That's true, but Trudeau's a disaster on two legs for them. He really is. He destroyed a lot of their economy, a lot of their...
Then they need to make a change.
Their healthcare system is a hot mess right now.
I'm more worried about us.
I am too, but, there are brothers and sisters and they're up north, and I got to help. I got to take care of them too, so... We all got to fight the same fight here. So, we love you guys. We appreciate all the views we're getting and all the attention we're getting and the comments we're getting especially. Like I said, you get in that comment section. Even if you disagree, give us, kind of articulate your reasons why you disagree. And we'll absolutely, call it out and discuss it on the show. So we're happy to get them. We're happy to see them. We're happy to read them. All right? And we're looking forward to seeing you guys in the comments. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys in the next show. Remember, like, subscribe, comment. get in the conversation.
Maybe next week we'll do another response to comment episode.
I think we should. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. See you on the next one.